Upscaling your low-resolution images is a workflow that you'll quite often use in your AI image generation. I will go through one of the most effective workflows that not only sharpens and helps generate better or more creative details than the original. You can also easily control how closely you keep to the original content or how creative you are. It's a three-part combo that begins with a quick initial low-res text-to-image generation. Then the latents are upscaled to generate better creative details. And finally, an ultimate upscaler is used to add sharpness to the final detailing. If you only sharpen a low-res image, you'll quite often just end up having very bad sharpened details. The latent upscale beforehand helps avoid this. What is a latent image? Well, we visualize images as pixels, but machines cannot understand this. So these are encoded into latent points in a central latent space that works as part of the generation. Upscaling before the conversion back to pixels allows for more creative detail to be injected into the image in upscaling. Jumping into the workflow, I have a default setup with an STXL model loaded in. I am using a juggernaut checkpoint for photorealism, same as my previous video, so you can follow on from there. And I've generated a glass pavilion by the beach in the prompt. And I've started with a 512 latent image for speed and for easier comparisons as we upscale. With an STXL model, you can start from 1024 pixel image if you like. Here's the image we'll be upscaling, which looks great, but you can see the blurring in the details as expected in this resolution. If you want to improve this further, we can do this in the latent space before decoding it. So here you can add a latent upscale by node. And this goes in after the K-sampler. There are just two settings, so you can change how much you want to upscale by. So I'll do 2. I'll use BIS lerp. And then we just need to connect up the latents. We will need to add another K-sampler to the latent upscale to generate the new image. Just connect the matching nodes as usual, and make sure for the latent you add the upscaled one. You can change the text prompts if you want to vary the details. For example, if you want to change the background here. You can also play around with the samplers if you want to differ more from the original. Although what is most important is for the second K-sampler is to change the denoising value. I found around 0.5 or 0.6 works well. If it is too low, there will not be much creativity added to the details. Then finally, you can add another VAE decode and save the image. Or I also fix the seed so that they do not keep regenerating unless I want to. And don't forget the VAE, of course. We can then run this. And I'll move the images side by side to compare. And you will immediately notice there are more details in the millions and the quality of glass. It is far more reflective, more colors. One more useful node I will also share at this point is the image comparer, which gives a nice slider comparison between images. This is a custom node which can be installed from the manager under RG3. So you can search for this and install. And then you can add this node on the canvas and plug in the original image and a new one. After running, we can compare these side to side and you see the changes much more clearly. Here particularly the furniture has stepped up greatly in quality. And you can see the creative changes in details, such as the pebbles along the facade line. And this is where tweaking the denoise strength and changing the prompts for the second K-sampler can help control this. If I go back and change the denoise to maybe 0.6 and cue the prompt again, if I slide this along, you can see a subtle difference. For example, the lights here have become smaller and the wall more textured. For the final part, we will be using the ultimate SD upscaler, as it is one of the easiest and most effective scripts to use to add sharpness. You can install this from GitHub here, or read more about it. To use this within Comp UI, if you have the manager installed, just go to Install Custom Loads, search for Latent Upscale, and install it. This will allow you to break down the image into tiles and generate larger images of each tile before piecing them together. You can also control the creativity to add to these details with the node. For this to work, we also need an upscale model. You can find a good one for architecture called the 4x Ultra Sharp, which is great. You can download this model from Civit AI, and you just need to paste this into your upscale models in your directory. Once done, I'll click and search for the ultimate SD upscale. And then I'll need to once again just match the inputs. And then we need to add the upscale model. So search for Load Upscale Model and select the Ultra Sharp model we just downloaded. I will choose to upscale twice, fix the seeds so it doesn't keep regenerating, and change the steps to 30. If you want to keep the upscale to be similar to the original, you can keep the same prompts and a low denoise value. If you put a denoise value of 1, it replaces the image with complete noise, and so it creates a completely new version. So we want to stick to something maybe 0.2. And we can also change the tile width and height 1024, as this is the tile size we want to create for my base image. And I'll keep the sampler to Euler and scheduler to normal. Then I'll copy the image comparer and plug in our new image for the second input. And then generate. Now when I use the slider, you can see an enormous difference in quality and details from the original. Quality of the glass, lighting, and millions is significantly better. If we zoom here into the floor, there's some incredible detail with the pebbles and framing. This may also be some unwanted detail that you have, so you will need to tweak the settings and regenerate to get rid of these. Then in the glass and reflections, I'll say there's another major improvement here. On another note, if you want to develop this workflow and try to keep closer to the original input, or try avoid losing some of the original details when upscaling, one way to do this is to combine it with a control net. It is similar to my previous video on control nets. However, you will need to use the control net for the SD XL version rather than the SD 1.5 to match your checkpoints. You can see here there's an example workflow in GitHub as a reference if you want to try this out. This is a simple but powerful workflow, starting from the first text-to-image generation, then upscaling the latents to add creative details, and finally sharpening to finish it off. You will pretty much always need some form of upscaler and detail enhancement in your workflows. So I hope you found this useful, and thank you for watching.